The H1B guy here, and today the H1B guy recommends creating an H1B EAD to end the H1B debate and address the green card backlog. But before we get started, I'd like to ask you, if you haven't already, to please subscribe to the H1B guy channel here on YouTube. It helps me to produce more content like this for you. Wanted to also thank everyone who joined the H1B Guy Live, unedited, unscripted 2 yesterday. Just really appreciate all of your support and interaction. So the question is this: is the concept of an H1B EAD the answer to ending the H1B debate and solving the green card backlog? This video may come off as insane and completely impossible, but please hear me out. How can we solve two problems at once? It is looking more and more like S386 will die in the 2020 session, and a proposal for H1B reform was submitted by DHS late last week, signaling signs that reform is evident. But before we can answer the question, we first have to clarify what is the H1B debate and what is the green card backlog. What is the H1B debate? Well, anti-H1Bers will point to examples of rampant H1B fraud, multiple accounts of U.S. workers trading their H1B replacements, and accusations of H1Bs as cheap labor. Pro-H1Bers will provide examples of the best and the brightest immigrating to the U.S. as an H1B, H1Bs actually being responsible for creating American jobs, and that H1Bs are typically paid more than their U.S. counterparts. What is the green card backlog? It is estimated that somewhere between 800,000 to over 1 million Indian nationals are currently in an employment-based green card backlog due to the number of employment-based preference filings and the 7% per country cap quota. This has created somewhere between a 30 to 50-year wait for those individuals whose country of origin is India, and also for those from China, but to a lesser extent, and their families. Is there a solution that can resolve both of these hotly debated issues? A solution that would benefit those currently working in the U.S. under H1B and L1 visas that are stuck in the green card backlog. Benefit U.S. employers who have needs for high-skilled immigrants, the world's best and brightest, as well as benefit future immigrants that are considering a move to the U.S. for education and/or future employment. To make a mutually beneficial solution possible, it will require substantial reform. The first step I'm recommending is the creation of the designation of an H1B EAD visa and also an L1 EAD visa to immediately address those currently working in the U.S. under H1B and L1 status that are stuck in the green card backlog. In order to be eligible, you must meet the following H1B EAD parameters. 1. Must have worked in the U.S. for 6 consecutive years or more under H1B status. 2. Certified perm labor with an approved I-140. 3. Proof of maintaining perm labor prevailing wage determination. The H-1B EAD benefits would be as follows. Work authorization with the right to choose their employer and also includes the ability to be a company owner. Validity period of 60 months with indefinite extensions. Freedom of travel with advanced parole benefits. H-4 EAD for spouse children with no age restriction. Not eligible for unemployment benefits. A continued path to permanent residency for the H-1B EAD, they'd be allowed to hold their place in line for permanent residency and file adjustment of status once their priority date becomes current. In order to be eligible for an L1 EAD, you must meet the following parameters. 1. Worked in the U.S. for 6 consecutive years under L1A status, or worked in the U.S. for 4 consecutive years under L1B status. 2. Certified perm labor with an approved I-140. And 3. Proof of maintaining perm labor prevailing wage determination. L1 EAD benefits would be as follows. Work authorization would have to be with the current sponsoring company, okay, but does grant W-2 status, a validity period of up to 60 months with indefinite extensions, freedom of travel with advanced parole benefits, the L2 EAD for children and spouses with no age restrictions, and not eligible for unemployment benefits. The L1 EAD would also continue the path to permanent residency, and they'd be allowed to hold their place in line and file for an adjustment of status once the priority date comes current. The H1b EAD and L1 EAD applications would be submitted electronically via a USCIS portal, and it should be easily completed by the individual on their own behalf and for their dependents without the assistance of an immigration attorney. The evidence required would be previous H1B approvals, previous LCAs, pay stubs, I-140 approval notice, I-94, foreign passport, and for the H4 EADs, any H4 dependent documents, including previous H4 approvals, foreign passport. We have to begin the process of ending the Green Card backlog and phasing out the H1B in its current form to an H1B that is merit-based. We'll cover more on this next week with the next installment of the H1B EAD, a merit-based visa, where we'll discuss a transition from the HCAP lottery to an annual merit-based system selection and what the point system should include in the evaluation process. For the full post on part 1 of the H1B EAD, please check out the H1bguy.com. Tomorrow, if you'll join us for another episode of the H1B Guy News for the week ending September 11th, 2020. I'd like to ask you, if you can, to please like this video, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the H1B Guy channel here on YouTube and click the bell for notifications. I just want to thank you for taking time to watch my video and the H1B content. The H1B Guy, your global source for all things H1B.